Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're taking a look at every Gran Turismo game ranked, or as my stupid dyslexic hands like to say, every Gran Tursimo ranked. For this list, we'll be ranking the mainline Gran Turismo games from worst to best. Keep in mind that we will not be including anything like the Prologue and concept demos, as those are, well, demos. Which Gran Turismo game is your favorite? Let us know down in the comments. Before we begin, we publish new videos all week long, so be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Number 9. Gran Turismo. It's almost hard to imagine Gran Turismo skipping a PlayStation console, but for the PSP, we could have understood why they could have and why they should have skipped it. The technical limitations of Sony's first handheld did not exactly deliver the Gran Turismo experience we were wanting. Yes, it featured some of the best visuals on PSP, and there were a vast number of cars to take for a spin. Unfortunately, it's nothing more than an arcade mode. There is no career mode of any kind. You can't even upgrade or tune the cars to your liking. Were we really expected to just sit there and grind for cars for hours upon hours on end? Yes. Yes, we were. And that idea was just not appealing in the slightest. Number 8. Gran Turismo 6. GT6 was a real disaster when it launched. As if releasing just as the new console generation was about to hit wasn't bad enough, GT6 was an incredibly lazy package, and a rather corporate-y one at that. The bigger focus on online races was not what most players were wanting at the time, and the fact that Polyphony put out a Gran Turismo that was so buggy and glitchy was alarming. Microtransactions, on the other hand, felt super invasive. Couple these issues with the comically short and easy campaign, and it's easy to see where more focus was put. This simply was not Gran Turismo. It certainly wasn't a love letter to motorsports and cars either. Number 7. Gran Turismo 2. Considering the first game's incredible success both commercially and critically, you would think the same story would apply with its sequel. Well, almost, but that's only when you look at the numbers. Yes, it sold a lot, and it also reviewed very well. But does that forgive some of the severe bugs that made it past development and studio heads? Many a GT2 player can recall the reports of earned cars mysteriously vanishing for no reason, the frustrating 98.2% completion glitch, and the possibility of more powerful cars appearing in the wrong races, thus making your game unwinnable. Sony was more than willing to replace broken copies, but for some, the damage had already been done, and it's sort of why GT2 went down in infamy. Thank God it wasn't enough to destroy the franchise. Number 6. Gran Turismo Sport. GT Sport sort of suffered a similar fate as the PSP outing. At launch, GT Sport was a game completely focused on one thing and one thing only: online functionality. Everything you did required you to have an online connection in order to play the game. In all honesty, the game did improve over the years. An arcade mode was added in, as well as a sort of single-player campaign. On top of that, there is a milestone system that grants additional XP, which helps players unlock tracks and reach level 20 quicker. The only other gripe we have, and we know we can turn it off, but why is auto braking set to on by default every time we boot up the game? Regardless, if you bought the game for about 20 bucks, we'd say you got your money's worth. Number 5, Gran Turismo 4. GT4 was a bit of a mixed bag, depending on what you were expecting from Polyphony at the time. On one hand, the visuals were slightly better than previous titles, and the new A-Spec mode was an interesting new perspective, taking players out of the role of driver and into that of a crew chief. Plus, you had the new driving missions, the photo mode, and improved physics. Unfortunately, what stopped most players from visiting or revisiting this installment was the AI, as it lacked any kind of reaction or even acknowledgement of the player. So when you got a penalty for bumping into the CPU unintentionally, it made races frustrating. Manners be damned if we're going to be penalized unfairly. Number 4, Gran Turismo 7. GT7 certainly saw a rocky start when it launched in 2022. The microtransactions, the minuscule and pathetic race payouts, the requirement for a constant online connection, it turned a lot of folks off. Yet, we cannot ignore the technical marvel that it is. This game makes cars look damn fine. Every curve, marking, groove, and reflection has been accurately rendered and programmed, making every car almost feel as if you're driving the real thing. The functionality of the DualSense controller only adds to GT7's incredible level of immersion. Whether the high price of admission is worth it or not is up to you, but if you consider yourself a car or motorsport aficionado, it's not a bad get. Number 3, Gran Turismo 5. It's no surprise that GT5 is considered the superior of the core entries on PlayStation 3. This was where Polyphony really went wild with the advancements that the PS3 brought in its technology. Not only did the cars look the sexiest they had ever been at the time, but they had new weather effects, highly detailed skid marks, improved visual effects when driving on different terrain, and even a deep system where external damage can result in various mechanical problems for your car. There was also that weird mode where you could use 6 PS3 consoles to display various windows of your car, but how many of us actually got to experience that? I'm sure the wealthier section of us, they certainly did, but were you really gonna go and buy 5 more PS3s for this? Regardless, it was an awesome evolution for Gran Turismo, albeit a late. Number 2, Gran Turismo. Surprised? Well, so are we. We actually booted up the original Gran Turismo on PS1 for this video, and we were shocked at how well it holds up today. Obviously, the controls are not as incredibly accurate as GT7 or any of the entries that came before it. However, considering the time in which it came out, when 3D gaming was still young and experimental, it is still one of the most impressive games that perfectly showcases the graphical fidelity of Sony's first PlayStation console. Plus, the short campaign will provide a lovely trip back to a simpler time when you could finish games in just an evening or two. Number 1, Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec. Not to downplay the rest of the series, but we gotta be honest. No other Gran Turismo game has reached the same level of excellence as A-Spec. Every entry has something to appreciate, except for 6. We don't talk about 6 for reasons. However, A-Spec has somehow managed to stand the test of time despite being a PS2 game. The visuals still make every car look sexy as hell, the controls still make every car handle like a dream, and it offered some of the most realistic racing simulation we had seen at the time. Besides, how can you not love a game with car manufacturers like Porsche gracing us with their presence? This didn't go down as one of the best PlayStation 2 games ever for nothing.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, there's more where that came from.